Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, you guys. Welcome back to the podcast this week. Super excited to share another really cool Etsy success story with you. I just got off the call with her and we just had the best chat. And no matter what you sell, what you do on Etsy, there is so much to learn from this episode. There's so much inspiration to take away. I am giddy. Can you tell? I am giddy. Before we dive in and I share her bio with you, I want to remind you that there are 2 surveys in the top of the show notes if you would like to learn more about either one. I'm kind of testing with you guys to see if either of these services would be helpful. The first thing I have been chewing on is so many of you have been reaching out and being like, I need to do a big pivot on Etsy, or I'm just getting started on Etsy, or I'm thinking about an Etsy. I don't know what to sell. And obviously learning the skill of really deep diving into Etsy to find out where are there opportunities, not just what does one keyword tool like Sales Samurai say, but when we actually get into it, we look at several tools, we look at the data, we look on Etsy, where are there kind of the hidden gem opportunities where there are products that are in demand right now. This is a hot take, but there's not a lot of competition there. I am debating having a subscription service where you get a weekly email from me with at least 5 of these things where I have found the hot takes and I am sending them to you, not just with like the name of it with a little bit of data, but an actual video of each one showing what I am seeing in the market so that you can make an educated decision. Let me know if that would be interesting. I have a survey, real short, like 3-question survey that'll take you 2 minutes to fill out in case you want to learn more, kind of get on a wait list for that. And I'm also trying to find out, are people interested in that for like physical products, or are they more interested in it for print on demand or digital? I'm just trying to get a feel for what would really serve you. And then the other thing that I've been reached out to quite a bit is a lot of you have been saying that technology is really overwhelming and you're super excited and passionate about Etsy, but you have some like questions that sometimes you feel kind of embarrassed to ask in a bigger setting. And I want to offer like an ultra beginner kind of group coaching where we can get on there and we can do things like, how do you save a document, like a picture from Canva to your desktop? Like, how do you make that work? And what kind of file do you need? And things like, how do you take the white background off of the back of a picture and save it where it's clear on the back. And I'm using really simple language because these are the folks who they really want to do this, but they feel so intimidated by the technology. And I just want you to know there's room at the table for you and I can answer these questions and you will never feel dumb asking me. I totally get it. The way I had to Google to find answers to some of these things in the beginning. So those 2 things are down there in the show notes. If you would like more information or kind of get on a wait list to see if we do anything with that, I'm just feeling you guys out first. That's what's happening. That's what's hot. So let me tell you about our guest today. Her name is Samantha. Sam, outside of her full-time job as a social media and communications specialist for a school district in Texas and her full-time role as a mom, she also owns a modern hand embroidery business selling colorful patterns, kits, embroidery samples, and digital products that inspire creativity and joyful crafting. She grew up in Arkansas, learning hand embroidery from her mother and grandmother at a very young age, helping them embroider images on fabric squares that they would fashion into quilts. In 2019, she rediscovered the craft in the form of modern hand embroidery. Deep diving into the hobby, she started selling hoops to family and friends and occupied a spot at a local art store. After moving to Texas, she decided to sell online and opened her Etsy shop in 2021. Hard work mixed with a little luck, Sam went viral in December of 2023 and now has accumulated over 100,000 followers across her various social media platforms. She's partnered with many major craft sites, including Joanne, Michaels, DMC Embroidery, Lion Brand Yarn, and Clover USA. Now a family business, Sam's husband runs operations full-time for the business, managing shipping. And Sam still works full-time while running the creative production, marketing, and listing side of the shop. When not surrounded by embroidery patterns and supplies, Sam loves spending time with her husband and one-year-old daughter, thrift shopping, finding new coffee shops, and binging true crime and reality TV. You guys, she is so lovely, so relatable, and there is so much to learn from this. Her social media expertise is some of what she is sharing in this discussion. And I think it's going to excite you, give you some ideas, and just really give you some hope and encouragement that you could make this happen for your shop as well. So without further ado, please help me welcome Sam to the podcast. Yay! Samantha, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to finally talk to you.
Hi, Lizzie. I'm so glad to be here. It's an honor to be on your podcast. I love listening to it. So I'm really excited.
Thank you. It means the world that you listen. And let me ask you this. Should I call you Samantha or Sam?
Either one. In my real life, outside of my business and everything else, people call me Sam. But
they do? I might have to do that. So what's super fun about this convo is that Sam, when did we connect? Almost a year ago?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, about a year ago.
It's been a minute because we're both in the greater San Antonio area, and we're like, oh my gosh, we should get coffee, and we're both way too busy, and we've tried so many times. And one day it's going to pan out. But so and I'm like, we got to get out of the green room and record this because we just wanted to talk immediately, and so this is going to be so fun. It's like you're going to watch a friendship evolve and bloom, guys. It's going to be so fun. Sam, I'm really excited because, and you were so kind to actually fill out an application because we'd already chatted about having you on here, but your story, which I don't even know the details of, I just know the overall gist is we have to hear it. Can you please tell us okay, what do you do outside of Etsy? What's your background? Mm-hmm. Where are you from? What did you do? All of that.
Yeah. So kind of try to start from the beginning. So I grew up, learning how to embroider from my mom and grandma. So I think probably when I was 5 years old to 10 years old. And so I loved doing that. And it was really simple embroidery. I would do stem stitch for these little patterns that were on fabric squares. And once I would stitch the image with them, they would fashion it into quilts, mostly baby blankets for people having children at our church back in Arkansas. So I would do that, and that was really fun. And I don't know, kind of as a kid, though, you kind of are like, I don't know, this is just something they want me to do. And so I kind of forgot about that for a really long time. And then I was planning my wedding, and it was my last semester of college, and I was in an internship, and I had just a ton of free time, which sounds crazy, still in college in an internship and, planning a wedding. But it just was how it was. I was only in one class. And then one or two classes in college still. And then I was planning a wedding, but I did have kind of a lot of time. And so, I actually did a poll on my Instagram, and I was like, what hobbies, should I look into? I have so much free time. And then one person had said embroidery, and that kind of caught my attention because I had done that with my mom and grandma growing up, and they still did it all the time. And so I was kind of like, interesting. And so I was looking on Pinterest at like modern embroidery. And I was like, oh, that could be really fun. But I didn't consider myself a creative person at all. Like I've never been creative before embroidery, really. Like I wanted to be, but I never was. And so then when I picked up embroidery, I did my first one and I'm insane and didn't start with a pattern or tutorial or anything. And I just like literally, I think I got a coloring book page, traced it and tried to like stitch it and it looked horrible. Like, that's what I always tell people that come to me and they're like, I don't know how to start with embroidery. Like, it's looking really bad. And I'm like, it's okay. I threw my first one in the trash.
Like, I wish you had pictures,
out of the trash.
Oh, he did. I was like, good. Cause I wish you had, I'm glad you said that. Cause I'm like, I wish you had pictures so we could see the evolution. Yeah.
So my husband actually grabbed it out of the trash and I actually don't know if I still have it, but my husband grabbed it out of the trash and was like, no, like you should keep going. You should keep trying. And so I did. And then I ended up falling in love with it. My family and friends were wonderful and commissioned me to do some pieces when I still wasn't very good, looking back, but like they were wonderful. And so I started to gain confidence. And then when I was still in Arkansas, I actually started selling at a store in town. So that was like the thing that really gave me confidence in like kind of starting the entrepreneurial side of embroidery. So I started selling at this local store that actually benefited children with disabilities. And like it was an after school program to help parents of students with disabilities. So that was amazing that like, I think 30% of my profits went there. So I also felt like that just gave me a drive to keep pursuing the hobby and being able to make a little bit of money, but also like, you know, support awesome cause. So I wanted to keep doing that. But when I moved to Texas I want to say it was about 3 or 4 years ago, I moved to Texas. And so I kept selling at that store. But I also was like, I need kind of something here in Texas and I don't have any connections. And so that's why I was like, oh, maybe I'll think about selling on Etsy and going online. So that's kind of what made me move to Etsy. And then the store ended up closing in Arkansas because they moved to Florida, the family that owned the business. So then I got, you know, all my supply, all my the hoops and things that didn't sell back to me here. And hopefully I can at some point do a market, but I'm super busy, so I don't know. but yeah, so I started my Etsy shop in 2019 it was after the pandemic. So 2021. So I started my Etsy shop in 2021. It was really, really slow the first year. Like I didn't have a social following. I didn't know what I was doing, you know, on Etsy really. And I think I got about 40 sales. And then the second and third year, you know, slowly got better, but it was really a slow growth. And then I actually had my daughter in April. I'm trying to think. 2023.
2023, yeah, right? If she's...
Yes. So I had my daughter in April 2023, and I kind of thought that would be the death of my business, which sounds dramatic.
Relatable.
But I thought when I had a baby, like I would have literally no time for myself anymore. And I just thought like my business would get no time. And so that's kind of the way I was approaching it. And so it was actually the opposite. Having my daughter gave me this renewed sense of wanting to create things for her. And so I actually, you know, I don't know, I just wanted to like build something also for myself. And I needed that hobby when I was a new mom. Like I really needed to like keep doing embroidery and keep doing, you know, a creative outlet during those like kind of harder first months with a baby. And so all of that kind of culminated, and I wanted to take, you know, my shop a little more serious. So I was starting to work on SEO and looking up like, you know, tags that people are searching for, and just kind of beefing up my shop a little bit and just kind of diving into it a little bit more. And so I had set that up and I was already seeing, you know, a natural like increase in sales and seeing like, you know, more things moving in my shop. And then at that point is kind of when I went viral, and now it's just a whole thing and it's wonderful. And now my husband actually works full-time for my business at home, and he does shipping and operations, and I continue doing the creative side.
Back up to the part where I went viral and everything changed. I'm going to need a lot more detail right there, Sam. Okay, what platform was it?
So it was Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
The same video went viral on all three?
Yes.
Okay, I need so much information. So was it it must have been a reel, like a short form video?
It was a reel, and I cross-posted to Instagram and Facebook and then posted it on TikTok as well. And it was really cool, and I love like this idea because I feel like how this all happened is that a customer had actually messaged me about one of my existing products, and they said, hey, can we use it in this way? And it wasn't something I'd ever thought about, but I was like, yeah, I guess we could do that. And basically it was just sizing up one of my products. Okay. And so once I did that,
I was like, okay, sizing it up. Yep.
Yeah. And so once I sized it up, I realized, oh, this could have a different function. And so I had also been listening to podcasts about how you can like yours and other ones about how to make things more, what's the word? Like something people can use in a way to benefit them as well. And so that's kind of what happened. So I was thinking, okay, I could use this embroidery, basically, it's like a supplier tool to make things. And so I sized it up, and then I was like, oh, it could work for this. And so I posted a video of me using the product in that way. And I was like, honestly, when I filmed it, I was like, I don't think like it's going to work, but it did. And so I was like, okay, so we can use this embroidery supply to make this. And so that's why I went viral.
Okay. So it was like and of course we always like, guys, we're going to protect Sam's shop and her intellectual property because the Etsy world is wild with stealing of ideas. But the point is, and this is really important, a customer tipped you off to a different way to use what you were creating. It was kind of out of the box. And it was, and so here's the thing. The other part that helped was embroidery is so hot right now. It has been for the last year or two, right? It's like a massive trend of embroidery. So you've got a trend and you've got a totally out of the box, different way to use it. And you put that in video form, and everybody, since embroidery is so hot, like this wouldn't work if it was something that nobody cared about. It was because you were using something that was already trending and you showed a different way to use it. And the idea just spread like wildfire. Is that a fair characterization of what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's exactly what happened. It was a mix of two things. So it was already a product that is big in embroidery, and I had already been doing it in a different way. And then I also saw this trend on social media and this product that people were making. And I said, hey, my embroidery product can be used in a way to make it more accessible for people to make this product.
I don't know if that combined two trends. Yeah, you did. Yeah, hello, basically. This is, guys, if you're not in print on demand and you haven't listened to any of the Beowulf Biz episodes, Brittany Lewis talks about trend combining all the time. And it's why her print on demand sellers who go through her top seller secret course are the ones that make multiple six figures. Trend combining is where it's at. Were you also, I will link Brittany's thing there in the show notes, because some of you might be like, I know what you're talking about. I just came here for embroidery, but it's an important business concept. Sam, did you use trending audio on that video?
Yes, it was a Taylor Swift song.
Oh, it golly. And yeah,
it was a perfect storm, I feel like.
Okay. So from there, there's so many different directions I want to go. First of all, can you tell us what is your full-time job?
Yeah, so my full-time job, I do mainly social media for a school district in Texas.
Oh my gosh.
So I am very comfortable with social media and trend spotting, and just kind of all the ins and outs that go with that. But I actually went to school for communications. So before this job, I've been mainly like a writer, and I focused more on like public relations, communications, just every facet of that. But now I am niched down more to social media. And that partly is because when I came back from maternity leave, my job saw my numbers on my social media for my business and said, hey, we want you on our socials.
No way. Yeah. Oh my gosh. See, I knew there was more story there. And then, oh my goodness. So are you off for the summer? No, you're still working, right?
Nope, I still work, but we had Fridays off for the summer, so I've used it as kind of a building time, and that's been really nice.
Okay. And do you get the other breaks though? Like, do you get the Christmas break and the spring break and all of that, or no? Oh, you do. Okay. So this is cool. You've got teacher hours in a way without kind of the teachers are my heroes. I don't know how you guys do it in today's world without all of that. So what about, like, do you work until like 3 p.m. or are you working until 5 or 6? Like, how does that work?
So I work a normal schedule because I'm at the district level. So I do, I do just like 8 to 5, or technically I do 7:30 to 4:30. So it gets more difficult in the winter time, taking product photos and different things because you're getting home, after it's already dark. But I do a lot of work, at night or on the weekends when I do like photos and videos. Yeah.
I would think for embroidery, light boxes would work pretty well. Or do you still prefer to use natural daylight?
I love natural light.
It's so easy, right?
Yeah. And it's just more cozy. And I definitely
I really don't like this. I like the old school light bulbs that they're a little more yellow than that bright white that feels like, I don't know, when you're in an industrial building or a hospital and it's so stark. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I know that people are mixed on this, but that's a total aside. Okay. So that's your day job and you're running this shop. So what happened after everything went viral? Because it sounds like you had a really slow year and then you hit it off on social media. Were even your socials pretty low at that point? Like in terms of...
Well, so it was kind of a build. So I was kind of getting familiar with a little bit more success on Etsy, but not anywhere near what it was after that. But I want to say my second year to my third year, I doubled or tripled my profit. I can't remember. So I definitely
the video or before the video?
No, before the video. Yeah. Wow. So that was when I had just started improving my tags and working on just like a different product mix, like making sure I'm hitting different areas and different price points in my shop. So I was already seeing a lot of kind of growth in my shop before the video. So I think that's what made it a perfect storm too, is I had laid the groundwork and prepared my shop and I was already reaping the benefits. But then when the video went viral, that just, kind of gave me that boost to get bestsellers in like a ton of products in my shop. And so then from there, it's a little more easy to like keep at the top of, search results and things. But
Okay.
The video part was crazy.
No, and I need to know. So back to the drama. The video, you post this video, you're like, this isn't going to do anything. This feels awkward a little or whatever. You didn't say that, but I was like, oh, you really didn't think that was going to go. And then what happened? Like, how did it unfold?
Well, I kind of had an idea before I posted it. I had a sneaky suspicion. I was like, I'm just getting in my head, but I was like, I just feel like this is going to disrupt the market. Like, because it was something that basically is to make a product that is so hot. And so I knew that, it was going to disrupt the market because it made it more easy for the everyday person to make this product.
Oh my God.
And so I just knew I kind of had a feeling like, I feel like if anything, this is going to do decently and, maybe get me some sales. Like,
Did you sell kits? Did you sell kits to do whatever it was that you showed in the...
Well, I didn't.
All of it. I'm shutting up. Just talk. Go.
Like, I had to adjust everything because I didn't expect that level. And so when I first launched it, it was not a kit. It was just like a single kind of product. And so then I'm getting all these, I'm getting hundreds of messages a day. Like, I want this included and I want this included and I want this, like basically asking for every part of the process. And so I was like, well, I need to do a kit. Like it's everyone's asking for all the pieces of a kit. And so I went ahead and put together a kit, but it was literally like 2 or 3 months after the video went viral because I couldn't find time until then. So we lost a lot of, you can't think of the what ifs, like we were doing our best, but yes, we eventually did get a kit together. And then that has continued to be a bestseller in my shop.
Hey, my friend. I'm just checking in to see how you're doing on your Etsy journey. Do you have all the support you need? I'm so honored that you're here listening to the podcast, and I want to make sure that you also know that I have a bunch more resources that can help you with your specific questions over in the resources section of my website. Whether your focus is print on demand, digital products, handmade items, and even more, there are tools and freebies and courses specific to your product type that are made by experts that I have already vetted for you. I don't know about you, but when I started my Etsy shop back in 2016, I was a busy mama and I didn't have oodles of time that was spare that I could just spend spinning my wheels trying to figure out Etsy completely on my own. I needed someone who knew what they were doing to teach me as efficiently and effectively as possible. And as soon as I was able to leverage the knowledge of an expert, I'm telling you, my personal results on Etsy went through the roof. Sales went literally from crickets to cha-chings within a week of implementing all of those things that I learned. So if you're looking for that kind of help, you want to get to the bottom of it, you want to get moving and grooving, where somebody who knows how your niche works on Etsy can show you the steps to start getting sales, come on over and visit my resources page at howtosellyourstuff.com/resources. And I'd love to connect you with the perfect expert for your business. I know their expertise will make all the difference in the world for you. So once again, that's howtosellyourstuff.com/resources, where you can find answers to your specific questions. I'll see you there. Was it an overnight viral? Like you woke up and you're like, oh my gosh.
Not
was
necessarily.
It was a slow burn.
It went viral over months. Yeah. So it definitely went overnight, but then it continued for, about 2 to 3 months.
I feel like it's on TikTok where you often see them a little more overnight, although I did have one get several 100,000 over the course of time. It was a slower burn, but I've also had the ones that go crazy. Or you see like someone posted it yesterday and they've got 4 million views. But I feel like Instagram more frequently is the slower burn. And for an Etsy seller, that is far better because you can maybe sort of kind of try to keep up. So did they immediately, like I'm guessing your Instagram profile had a link to your Etsy shop. Were sales just coming in right away?
Yes, definitely. Once it started kind of going viral, I had never experienced that before. Like I was already kind of getting excited because I was getting more sales like before the video. But then once it went viral, it was pretty crazy. And I will say, like anyone that's gone viral understand this, like it is really stressful in the moment. Like during the time, like I was like, is this worth it to my husband? Because we're spending every waking moment packing orders, like with a 1-year-old running around, or I don't know if she was walking at that point. I don't think she was, but yeah, it was wild, just spending every moment at night until we go to sleep, packing orders. And then on every weekend, we're having, my husband's parents help watch our child. And like, yeah, it was a lot during that period. But once we like got to the other side and got a manageable system going, we were like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know how to, I was going to ask, were you like, how did you have enough available is really my bottom line question. Like you didn't know this was going to happen. You were kind of already in a growth curve, but like, how did you have enough there to be packing that much? Cause I don't know if you're selling like more supplies or you're selling finished things that you have to make. And I'm like, how did you do that?
Definitely supplies. But I did have to just run out. So I would run out and then we would put in a rush order, and it was a lot of rush orders. I'm going to be honest, like spend a lot of money to get things here quicker, but it was worth it at the moment. But yeah, I mean, definitely just like putting in what I view now as like really small orders because we weren't sure like how much we would actually keep selling. And so eventually we did put in like really big orders and then we were good, for those last couple months of that virality. But yeah, like definitely was out of stock for a little, tried not to keep it out of stock for more than a couple days. Cause I was also getting a ton of messages when you're going viral. You're just getting bombarded by messages on socials and in your shop. So I felt bad that it was out of stock at times, but yeah, we definitely did our best.
So then did other products start selling as well? Cause I know you mentioned you ended up getting bestsellers. Like tell us everything about your shop. What happened after that, like going forward?
Yeah. So I did get sales from other things. I actually, before that, why I said like I was already seeing growth is because kind of based on that too. I can say I was doing personalized things. And so once I started introducing that into my shop, like I really saw some growth. And so pretty much anything in the vein of the thing that went viral was like kind of getting sales, and a lot of people like combining things in my shop. And so, yeah, I definitely think that kind of solidified a lot of them as bestsellers. And then it was cool because afterwards we were thinking it would completely die after the video went viral. That was kind of my thought. So like neither of us thought it was in the vein of, either of us doing it full time at all. But then in the next couple months, it stayed really steady. And it was just, we were kind of forced into my husband taking on full-time shipping and operations because we literally, after 4 months of, just spending every weekend and every night packing, we were just like, we can't do this anymore. So it was kind of just a necessity at that point. But yeah, definitely, stuck around after the virality. It's still been really steady. So we're very thankful.
It doesn't seem like embroidery is losing any steam. I mean, there's a lot more competition in that niche on Etsy now than there was at that point. Like you just like nailed it, girl. It's so cool. But it doesn't seem to be and thank you, Grandma Core. Like we're all, or Granny Core, whatever they're calling it. Like people are just so here for all of it. Oh my gosh. So let me ask you this. Do you think at this point, and I don't know if you've even looked at the stats very much, but are you still generating most of your own sales from your Instagram, or are you very organically getting them from Etsy now?
So it's definitely a mix.
That's great. That's ideal, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say it's a mix. I think probably half or a little bit lower. It's probably around 40% comes from my socials.
Wow.
And just generating. And I post on every platform. So I cross post everything because sometimes it might do poorly on one and succeed on another. So I kind of just spread the love everywhere. Pinterest, I love doing Pinterest as well. And that's just like an easy kind of plugging in your links and generating that way.
So perfect for you. So
yeah, I have like a couple pins that do really well there too. And I think drive traffic to that viral product. I tried to like just post it everywhere when it was going crazy because I knew it would kind of slow down. And so I wanted it to like be plugged in a lot of places.
If your traffic is coming from what you're pushing from social versus what's happening organically on Etsy, my follow-up was going to be, do you pay for Etsy ads?
I do sometimes, yes. Oh, so it just depends. I really only do it for my bestsellers or like things I'm trying to like push initially.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I do. And I monitor them if, some of them don't pay off as much. So I will.
Totally. And you turn them off. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do sometimes like to use them.
You do like to, okay. No, I think that's important for people to hear. Like it can be a mix and you don't have to, but it's really helpful to start getting yourself showing up at like earlier pages. If you've got a winner, I wouldn't, if you're new to Etsy or you don't know what you're doing it and you're not getting a lot of sales, I don't think it's a good plan, because a lot of times you need to have products that are that will perform first. And then once you do, when you launch new things and you know what you're doing, you can put ad spend on them to get them on the first page. I've done that lots of times, but I would never do it with something I hadn't proven at all. I think people lose a lot of money that way. Okay, random though. Because you said all the platforms, do you post on LinkedIn?
Oh, no, I don't. Not LinkedIn.
I was curious because I feel like, our like Gary V, especially like the big social media voices are like, y'all are missing out on LinkedIn because it is it has the organic reach of Facebook circa like 2010. But I've been very curious to talk to someone, who's got a physical product. Like that makes sense for me as someone who's a coach, because I am selling a side hustle, a system for a side hustle that lots of people on LinkedIn who are thinking career, all of that, it would be natural. But I'm just so curious to hear from someone who sells a physical product or like a craft, if they found a way to like make that work. That it's like a really curious conversation, I think. And I just don't know.
Another one that some people don't think about is also like your local Facebook groups. I will kind of post in those. Yeah. I'm trying to think what other kind of random ones. I do have a Facebook group as well.
Groups are huge, right? Okay. Oh, and then the other thing is, when the virality happened, did your followers just go through the roof?
Yes, I did get quite a bit. It was so crazy because I want to say the year prior, before I went viral, I had just celebrated 10K followers, and and it still is ginormous.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So excited. I was so floored. And so I actually did a full picnic celebration and took photos and partnered with local businesses and really made it fun. So I had just celebrated that the year before. And so then when I went viral, it was pretty crazy. And I had to like mentally kind of adjust to everything, because I went from like that big celebration of 10K to all of a sudden, I think from the time I started going viral to the end of kind of the virality of that video, I went up to 65K. Yeah. So I had to really mentally like just adjust to everything, because at that time I'm just getting so many messages and, just trying to kind of adjust to that like immediate growth.
Well, it's also what people don't realize, because we all think we want that moment, and you want it, but only if you're ready for it. Because it comes with lots of upside, but plenty of downsides too. So like you might have cultivated such a like kind, supportive, happy environment of people where you kind of know how they're going to respond. You know what you're going to get. You know how much interaction you're going to need to deal with. I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying like to be able to have time for. And then when you have this huge bump in, all of a sudden there's all of these new eyeballs, like you can't get that big and not have ugliness. Like there's going to be people being rude. There's going to be people stealing your stuff. There's going to be people like saying things that you might have really thick skin. You might be prepared for it, but still sometimes it's just like, oh, I'm a little, I kind of want to go off grid here for a while. It'll sucker punch you. And so that, and even if you don't get that, because hopefully in your niche, you don't have quite as much of that kind of thing happening as some others. But then again, it's like responding to the influx of, and you're still just one person, and you still have a full-time job, a child, a household, a husband, and this business you're trying to run, and you're just fielding all these questions. And we all know if we don't respond, just like on Etsy messages, if we don't respond as fast as possible, they are on to the next person, and or they're really annoyed with you. And part of that's their problem, but it is a pressure, right? It's like you got like another boss all of a sudden. Is that all fair?
Definitely. Yeah, it was hard to manage it all. And I will say I have amazing customers. Like I think I contribute that mostly to why I've kept such an amazing, like steady kind of growth past that, is because my customers are so amazing. I've really tried to cultivate like my relationship with my customers outside of that virality, the ones that choose to stick around post viral and still interact with my content. Like I value them so much. Yeah, definitely. It was crazy at the time though, because it was the most non-offensive video. Like it was a wholesome video, and I still got comments that were like not the, nicest. So you can get a negative comment about anything, but
it's really interesting. Like we genuinely, and I'm actually a huge fan of diversity, and I love having people around me that think differently than me. I think it's like really healthy for like your humility and to not get super locked in one way of thinking or one way that's, you know what I mean? Like, even if I don't agree, I want to understand people because they deserve my respect and my honor. And so I'm all about that. But it's really interesting to me in today's world, like what can be interpreted as offensive. Do you know what I mean? Like people can take anything
Mhm.
anyway. It's really mine. It's really it's a mind thing for me. It's something else. Okay. Sam, coolest story literally ever. What else do I want to ask you? I mean, you've already answered. How did you decide on your niche? Your grandma decided on your niche, and that's the best ever.
Well, it's actually kind of cool in that piece too.
Yes.
This is also kind of woven in because before I went viral, like I mentioned, I was making things for my daughter. That's what pushed me in the direction of the product that made me viral. But I actually had a miscarriage before my daughter. So that was kind of woven into my story too. So I had a miscarriage, I'm going to say 5 or 6 months before I got pregnant with my daughter. And so I created a lot of art and just like renewed my creativity through that experience, kind of pouring myself in. And so because of that experience, I was so hyped when I was pregnant with my daughter and also nervous. And so I created a ton while I was pregnant. So I think that kind of is roped into and kind of my why behind everything. Because truly, if I didn't have my daughter and didn't like appreciate it so much when I did, I don't know if I would have went the route of creating all the products I did because I am very kind of focused on
and
that.
created your own therapy too. Like that's really, first of all, I'm so sorry. That's absolutely gut wrenching. And you totally turned beauty from ashes though.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, wow. I mean, that's amazing.
A lot of my content was surrounded around it when it was happening. And then also
you were public about it. You shared with your followers?
Yeah, definitely. So, and I try to still kind of bring it up on occasion just to like make sure I'm there, you know, if anyone wants to talk. But yeah, during the time I did have my miscarriage, I talked to a ton of women about it. And a lot of people wanted to get into the hobby to also cope. So that was really cool, like,
Whoa.
you know, helping women get into embroidery to do that. And I still actually do occasionally talk with women. I have a pregnancy loss hoop pattern that is like discounted that people can stitch. Like, I don't know, I'm very passionate about that too, but that kind of played in also to like everything that kind of just spurred it on. So.
Okay. And I in no way, some people are so funny about like how on the internet, especially on like TikTok, and they're ugly and they'll be like, you're like using this to make money. You're using like this thing to make money. And I like, no, it's a way to cope. It's a way to help. Do you know what I'm talking about though? How people will say that kind of thing. But so I want to preface with that. Like, that's like, no, what it actually is you trend combined. In a way, you know what I mean? You took something very real about your life that's very real about millions of other lives and relatable, and they're looking for soothing and help and just gentleness in that season. And you put it again with something else that they want you. So you actually met a very deep need, but that's so smart. And we could do it with other things too, right? Like we could take out the loss from it. If you guys want to think about it this way, let's say you create or you sell supplies for some other really trending, fidget stuff is really, really hot still, right? But let's say you combined it with like a bridal party. Okay, so you're taking one trend, the fidget thing, and you're making it where the bride can give it to her bridesmaids as a gift, and it's somehow themed for the wedding. It's combining a life event is really what I should have said to begin with, but this was new. You just plucked this out of my brain, Sam. So you're taking an event or something very, very, very personal and combining it with a trending product. And it's sort of like how we always teach about, like if you're selling t-shirts, look at like create things for occupations. You know, like that's one whole way you can go about it. Create things for hobbies. This is how you could do it with a physical product. Okay, sorry, I got off again. It happens all the time.
Yeah, definitely. And the viral product was separate from that whole thing, but it did like my story built upon, I feel like, my success, which I love. And then I will say I have a very specific, I have a very specific niche, which is cool. So.
Okay. I'm sorry. There's like a bit of a lag right now, Sam. So I apologize. I would never intentionally talk over you. It's like
me too. I'm sorry.
I am too excited though. I'm obviously very excited. No, but I think also with your type of product, what's great is you're going to get repeat business. So it's really, really important to cultivate those customer relationships, because just like I'm constantly going back to the yarn shop, looking for more yarn to knit, looking for more knitting patterns. And I go back because they're friendly and I can sit and knit with them and we chat and we become friends. I have a need that I'm going to keep needing. And so they'll just keep coming back to you because they relate. And then especially if they've connected with you in that personal way about like, gosh, I've had a loss too. And it just feels nice to do business or just to DM with somebody who gets it. So 12 out of 10, completely brilliant. You kind of already talked about balancing your life and you literally just had to make your husband take care of it. So props to you on that. Okay, this is so perfect since you've got the social media job. Can you give us some tips for Etsy sellers on how did I want to put this? Just like about how they could grow social media. I know that it can be a real time suck. Seriously, for the last year have been so lazy on social media, not even for Etsy, like for the podcast. Like, I don't understand how you find the time. Obviously for you, it's probably very easy. Like I have to put on a whole new brain to sit down and create some kind of a reel. But what are some tips for like I don't even have, I've got plenty on TikTok, but like my Instagram's like 3,000 followers. What tips do you have for Etsy sellers for growing these platforms?
Yeah, definitely. So it was once again, a very slow growth before I went viral.
To the 10K.
For me. Yeah. So I want to say I started my Instagram, oh goodness, maybe it was before I opened my shop or maybe right around the same time. So 2021. So I started, and I think the biggest thing that helped me in the beginning, because I think it's harder to go from 0 to 10K than 10K to 20K, or, however it is. And so I think at the beginning, it was really important for me to just make relationships within my niche. So I encourage anyone, like, there is a big community in your niche, and, finding those people is really important because, bigger embroidery accounts started sharing my work, and vice versa. I'm trying to share and support them, and then like occasionally like they'll share and support me, and then all of a sudden you're kind of building a smaller community. So that's kind of how I started at first. It was just a lot of, and I do see also, especially with the embroidery niche, and this could be true, I know it's true for crochet and like other like handmade art. If you're making people's patterns and tagging them, that is a wonderful way to grow too, because you're just making those connections, and they might share you to their story, and it just kind of grows that small community. So I would say that's definitely the first step, and it just gives you support. Like now, once I went viral and have a bigger following, I still go back to those people I've been following since the beginning, and that's still like kind of my community there, my other fellow embroidery artists. So that's big, and then also too. Just providing different types of content. So the first type would just be like nurturing your current community. Another one, providing tips and tricks, whatever it is in your niche. And then also like ones that are kind of geared towards hopefully growing and catching a new audience. So I think if you're kind of doing content for different areas, that also helps just a natural growth, but also cultivation of who is following you. Because if you have a huge number of followers, but they're not active, then it doesn't really help your shop, because, followers don't always contribute to sales. So, yeah.
Right.
So I'm really big on like supporting my community that I have, and like offering resources and help to, help them further in the hobby. So they want to, hopefully support my shop too.
I think that's so smart and such a slam dunk for any kind of physical product. Do you worry about, when you do those kind of collaborations, do you worry about people stealing?
Definitely sometimes, especially when I made more handmade art. Definitely I would have like people just steal it off Pinterest and like stitch it up themselves, and I have it sent to me, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well,
Lovely.
Most of the time they took it down. But yeah, I mean, it definitely happens. And also like I have people steal my products all the time and sell it on websites and use my actual photos. It's rough out there, but yeah.
Yeah,
it's just wild. Them actually
like buy my course and then sell it for $20 somewhere on some like total hack website. Like it doesn't matter. It's so blah. And there's a website we just found out. I'm in a group in like WhatsApp group with a whole bunch of like really big YouTubers in the space. And like all of our stuff has been stolen and put on. They're using our cover photos to direct to their own content. They're not even like linking them back. Like it's everywhere. But do you, so do you or your husband spend time reaching out to those people and asking them, because you said they usually take it down. Do you have a system for reaching out and asking them to remove it?
I really don't see it too often. Unfortunately now, unfortunately now the biggest thing that I see, since I'm mostly selling supplies and like different products to help people make things themselves and DIY, I mostly see just these random websites popping up that are selling a ton of embroidery artist stuff, and I'm in there.
Okay.
So it's kind of more of a widespread issue, and it's more these websites that are just like selling it for half the price, and then they're probably not even sending anything. Yeah.
Oh
so
my gosh.
it's out there a lot, especially in the embroidery community.
Oh, that my heart just sank. That's so upsetting.
Yeah. So I can't do much for that, but if it's ever just like someone stole my art, and cause mostly it's people that like just see it on Pinterest and don't think they're stealing. So I'm pretty like good about that. Like I'll ask them, and if they don't answer, I don't lose sleep over it. But
Hey guys, today's episode is sponsored by ProfitTree, which is a new and incredible tool that will massively help your Etsy shop grow. My friend and fellow Etsy coach, Hannah Gardner, she's been on the podcast, and you may know her from her massive, incredible YouTube channel, Ecom Hannah, highly recommend. She's a 7-figure seller who's obsessed with data tracking. This is like her superpower. I love it. ProfitTree is a service that's going to seamlessly integrate with your Etsy shop to give you automated, real-time profit tracking for your store. So for the first time ever, you can now obtain meaningful, actionable insights on core metrics of your Etsy shop. No more Excel sheets, V-lookups, I don't even know what that is, or exporting reports. Y'all have been asking for this, and Hannah and her team have over-delivered. This is like one of those new tools that I'm so stinking excited about. With ProfitTree, you can spend less time playing catch up and more time growing your shop. So the integration will allow you to easily import and track your business expenses and product costs, which means that you can maximize sales of each item in your collection by seeing the true profit breakdowns in the blink of an eye. Forget about hours of manual work to only get outdated data. No kidding. Not to mention if you're like me and you don't even try because the numbers make your eyes bleed. So embarrassing, but it's true. But ProfitTree is going to do the work for you so you can get clear insights of all of your unique product variations, which is so helpful. Additional features to ProfitTree include real-time calculations, low stock alerts, one-click print-on-demand integrations, trend spot your product, that's helpful, track duplicated products so you can see which one's doing better and why, add custom expenses, optimize listings profitability, and identify listing issues like missing SKUs and COGS. Right now, when you sign up, you can start with a 7-day free trial and make sure to use code TREE10, TREE 10, to save 10% on your membership. And as someone who knows how important the tracking piece is, you guys, but I don't feel like it's a strength of mine in that area, I am so super excited about this service because it's going to take the piece off of my plate that I'm not good at, but still give me the benefit of having that work done. Super stoked. So check it out. Start gathering the best possible data for your shop, for your listings, and it's going to help you grow and scale your business. So thank you so much, Hannah and ProfitTree. You guys are lifesavers. Okay, well, that's super helpful. And I have such a random question, again, because you're in the social media. I used to manage social media professionally, but it's been like a decade. It's so different now. I'm always wondering, do you think if someone sells digital products or they sell print-on-demand products, do you think they could have an effective like Instagram account promoting that?
I think so. My kind of standpoint on Etsy and social media in general, especially coming from a handmade side, is to present everything with that kind of lens of like, if you're hand drawing the patterns, like I would show that. If you're hand drawing your print-on-demand products, showing that like behind the scenes. And then also too,
designing?
I think it is important.
You'd screen share the showing, like in Canva, putting things together.
Yeah. As long as it's not giving away your secret sauce, like, I don't know. I think it's important to show the handmade aspect, especially on Etsy. Like, I think that's what's going to set people apart, especially in the coming years with everything so saturated, is showing that handmade aspect. But that's kind of what I think about it. And I think social media too, even if you have print on demand, if you're able to buy a couple products, like, show those in videos
or whatever.
Wear them in the videos. I don't know, as much as you can, but I know that's not like a reality, to buy all of your products when you do print on demand. But yeah, so I don't know, as much as you can to just show your handmade and
buy the blank. You buy the blank shirt that you sell, and then you have pictures taken in that, and then you put whatever design on it you want. That's the solve for that.
Exactly. And I actually do have a couple print-on-demand products as well. And I did buy 2 of them, and I've made videos with them and, gotten actual photos in them, which especially for a handmade, they're just for handmade people. They're just crafty sweatshirts. Like, I think that's just key to kind of keep that handmade aspect. But
okay. No, I agree with you. I do think the handmade piece, any humanization that you can give is helpful. And I don't think that, I think that super aesthetic video and pictures are still really good on Instagram, but I don't think that they're like mandatory. You look at people like Gary Vee, who's killing it beyond all of us, and it's not aesthetic. Like you can kind of like, it's just, do you have a story to tell? Can you cast some kind of vision? So I really appreciate your insight on that. I think I would love to have like a whole episode about that. Like, how do you do social media if you have a digital product or a print on demand product? I think it's such an interesting question, and most of us haven't tried. So, and I don't have time for that. We've got to get someone who's already doing it. So listen, guys, if you know anybody, let me know. What else I want to ask you? What about like lessons for new sellers, like people just getting started, thinking about getting started? What tips do you have for them?
Yeah, I think just find out how you can kind of stand out, I think is how I view it. I'm in a really saturated niche. So when I'm thinking about growing, I'm thinking, and luckily I had customers kind of reaching out with, oh, do you have this? I can't find this anywhere. That is so helpful, But I think too, just like looking for the gaps in the areas where like maybe that need isn't being met. And also seeing how you can help people. All of my products really are at the end of the day helping someone achieve something. And I love that. And that makes my heart really happy. Most of the time it's moms and grandmas who are buying my products. And it just makes me really happy that they're able to, just make something that makes them smile. So I think that's kind of the nice part about what I'm doing. And so at the end of the day, I'm kind of looking for new products and things that can, help people get from point A to point B and making something that they enjoy. So I think that's applicable to kind of anyone. Yeah, just looking for the niche, and then how you can kind of be different and how you can showcase your creativity. And especially for me being handmade, I think it's important to keep creativity center because as long as I'm passionate about it, I feel like it's going to keep being successful.
So what I love about that is that literally the skill that it takes to do what you just said, to find the niche, but even more than that, to find how you figure out how you can stand out in the niche, is the same skill you need to stay in business. Because you can create something and it might sell. It might even sell for years, but there's going to come a point where you have to pivot. You have to evolve. You have to add other products. You have to do more. And it's going to require that exact same skill. So I absolutely love that. And I have one more thing I'm going to throw in, and I want to ask, how proud of you are your mom and grandma?
Oh, well, my grandma is no longer with us, but that's actually been kind of cool too, that I've been able to like carry on her craft. So she passed away a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago now. And so I was already selling on Etsy at that point, and she thought it was so cool that I was like able to make a little bit of money from it. And like, I've thought about it often, like, what would she think now? Like, yes. I think she would be flabbergasted. But yeah, my mom is like super proud of me and loves to like hear everything I'm doing. And it's been really cool. I get to partner with some really fun like craft brands. And she always loves hearing about that. And yeah, I think it's just cool because it was their hobby first. And so them just getting to hear what I'm doing with it and kind of the modern approach to embroidery, I feel like has been really cool. And even just the products that I'm selling and doing, like she's like, wow, that's so cool. Because some of the products have only been around for 5 years or, 6 to 7 years. And so it's really interesting for her to hear about it.
Unbelievable. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. Samantha, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing this whole story and all of your tips. I think there's like a lot of golden nuggets that you've dropped that people can, doesn't matter what they sell, they can learn so much, but also just like, what a fun roller coaster to be on with you. Like, what a hoot.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been wonderful speaking with you, Lizzie. I'm glad we finally got to talk.
Finally. You guys, thank you so much for sitting down with us, hanging out, listening to me going off on every tangent under the sun as per usual. But I love y'all. You guys make my life so beautiful. I love every single story. I love every minute I get to spend with you. So have an amazing week. And until next time, go make something awesome. Bye, you guys. And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.